Hi, my name is Greg Abate, and welcome to Show and Tell. I'm going to explain some things about the saxophones. I play saxophone and flute and clarinet as my main source of income, and I travel all over the world, and I've been doing this for about 50 years, and I play with some great bands, just in short, like the Ray Charles Orchestra, the revived Artie Shaw Orchestra, and a lot of the local Rhode Island bands that were iconic in the past, like the Duke Belair Orchestra, and my fusion band starting off in Providence, Channel 1. From there, I branched out, moved to California, and basically, I was playing alto saxophone, and this is the alto saxophone. And I wanted to just show you what is significant on this. Well, this is just the cap that goes into there, so it's like keeps the saxophone safe when it's in the case. This is the neck. This is the bell, the body, and this is the mouthpiece. Now, with the mouthpiece on all these horns, including any wind instrument with a reed, you have to have sort of a tightening of the reed onto the mouthpiece. Usually what we'll do is wet the reed like this. The mouthpiece is kind of open. The chamber, of course, air goes in here when you blow it, but without this reed, there'll be nothing happening. Nothing at all. But the reed, different sizes of strength. You know, they're all thin, but made of bamboo, and like they'll go on the table of the reed, like this, and then this ligature or clamp goes on here to hold that onto the mouthpiece, and it's tighten it up for a snug fit, and this goes on the neck, like that. Now, the saxophone all has the same amount of keys on it. The alto saxophone is an E flat, and it's amazing that these instruments were invented by Adolphe Sax in the early 1800s, and he was a Belgian inventor, and he was very clever, I would say, to do this, because all these keys have to be in a certain way to make the pitch match the piano. I mean, so it's like if this was a little bit further up, it would be not in tune properly. But this instrument sounds like this. That's the lowest note. You could play altissimo off the horn, which is off the register. The highest note written on the saxophone is this one. It takes skill and practice to play higher than that, so if I wanted to play altissimo, it's a different fingering. So it goes pretty high. So that's the alto sound, which is quite significant for the alto. It's just that's what you're going to have for a sound of this instrument. So the other instruments, going to the soprano saxophone, has the same concave bore, which is the body, and it has the keys. This is a soprano saxophone. It's in the key of B flat, and the two saxophones well, there's two saxophones that are smaller. Another straight one, which is called the Soprano. It's about this. It would be about that long. The key's a lot shorter, and then they also have the curved soprano, which would be looking like the alto with the curved bell up. And this is the same principle with the reed on the mouthpiece. So putting it on the neck here, this sounds like this. So when you tongue the mouthpiece to the reed, your tongue has to like touch this and release to make that happen. If you don't, it will be just like a sound that's not really focused, like this, without the tonguing. With the tonguing, it brings it in tune. It makes it the proper intonation. Now, with the mouthpieces, however, if this mouthpiece was out or not too much, it would sound flat. If I push that in, it comes more in tune. So that would be the soprano sax. It's a higher pitch than the alto, and they're all used in classical music and jazz. So the thing with this is that you have to have the right reed, or else it's like really difficult to get a good clear sound. So if I have the reed here, and I'm a beginner at it, and I put the reed way down like that, with a gap there, it won't be clear. It'll be kind of muffled. Nope. The difference is coming up with the reed to the tip, like that, will be different. I don't know if you heard that difference. I'll do it once again. So an uneven reed put on hastily without taking time can be detrimental to you playing. You know, you have, like, there was one time, just recently, I was on a gig playing the tenor, and my ligature got loose, and the air was going out of the mouthpiece instead of into it. So here's a misplaced reed on the mouthpiece. I can hardly get the air in because it's not balanced. So here, I'll put it up again where it's supposed to be. With the sound of the saxophone playing into every person has their own voice on it. You know, how you breathe, how you blow into the mouthpiece, the type of mouthpiece that you have. It could be metal, it could be plastic, it could be hard rubber. These are hard rubber that I have, and I like this better on the soprano and the alto, whereas on the tenor saxophone, which I'll show you in a little while, I use a metal mouthpiece because I don't seem to have the amount of edge I have in the saxophone of the tenor with a rubber mouthpiece. Although other artists play the rubber mouthpiece and they sound great. It's just the way my ear and the way my embouchure is with my lips and the muscles. I play better on the metal. So these are both hard rubbers. So I'll show you this one. And notice how when you go lower, it gets when you go down, it gets lower. Right? Going up. So that's the soprano saxophone. I'd like to bring back the alto and just play it a little bit more for you, because it's a little bit a deeper sound and it's a warmer sound, if you will, but also it's also can be played with an edge or a sharp tone. So that's the alto sound. Now if I do the same thing with the mouthpiece and take this reed off and put it on a little bit off center, like that, with the not sort of up against, flush with the tip of it. It doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't feel good. Plus, it doesn't have the edge that I require, so I put it up a little higher. Focus it a little bit higher here with it up to the tip. That went way over. Tighten it up. I don't know if you heard that little squeak there. That was because the way I was blowing it, getting used to this reed, I have to get adjusted to the whole physical and the physics of it, because you go by the feeling of this wood in your mouth against the mouthpiece. You can actually feel the air going in and how it vibrates against your bottom lip. And it has to vibrate, or else there's not going to be a sound. This reed actually vibrates like that. You don't feel it that much, but it's going like, a lot of times per second. I like this reed. It's cool. Now, if you take the mouthpiece out, like if you're a beginning student, like I was many years ago, I came to my lesson with my mouthpiece like this. I was like 9 years old. I just got the clarinet, actually, which will be part 2 of this. I'll demonstrate the clarinet and flute, and alto flute. So I came in, and my teacher sort of chuckled in a good way. He wasn't, listen to this. That's not what you want. So he said, turn it around. So I turn it back around like this, and then listen to the difference. There's no way that you can play like that. I don't know. I just thought that's the way it should be. But that's why you have teachers, right? Now I'm just amazed at Adolph Sax to be able to figure this pitch on the saxophone to make it so accurate in So if you're playing the piano, you know, you have the white and the black keys, so you're able to do this. And if the piano's in tune, you don't have much to worry about for intonation. For the saxophone, though, if you feel like you're sharp, you have to like lip down, as they call it. So lipping down is like this. This is the term lip down. That like that, and lipping up. And then a slur would be no tonguing. You have to tongue to start off the vibration, then you're on it, on the flow, like this. I'm not tonguing in there, but if I had to tongue in the middle, if there was music and it had an accent on one of the notes, I'd have to tongue that, like this. Legato is this. Staccato. Regular tonguing is like legato tonguing. There's a lot of air influence on playing the saxophone. It's kind of like infinity playing any instrument, you know, but like getting back to it, it's like just amazing how it works. And how did he do this? How did he figure this out? Did he sit there like with a drill and a metal pipe and put this hole in, right? And then these two here, and that's it. And this hole is not where it's supposed to be. It's got to come up maybe a 1/16 of an inch, and for the bore of the horn to sound right, correct. So that blows my mind. So you got the alto sax, and the tenor saxophone. On the alto and the tenor, in the curved soprano and the baritone, it's sort of like a protective plug that goes into it when you put it in the case, so it keeps it like snug in the case. Like when you put it in, it's like this. So you want to have it so it's in the case and it's not going to do that. So this helps it stay stable. Oh, and talking about some other things which apply to these saxophones, the alto and soprano, the pads are made of leather. I don't know if you can see them, but here they are, sort of a leather, and they're really smooth, and they cannot have any leaks in that part between this and the tone hole, which is in here, the tone hole, which is actually the hole, but the rim on it. If that leaks, you're not going to get a good sound, and it's going to be sort of hard to play the saxophone. And the worse it gets, the worse it sounds. So I have a great repairman I've been going to for many, many years. He's called the Sax Doctor, Emilio Lyons, Boston, and he's worked on everybody's saxophone. And I'm really honored to be able to go to him. And I'm also a consumer artist. I play saxophones, and when I go to clinics and master classes at schools, I demonstrate the instruments to the students and they'll ask me questions, and I'll ask them about their instrument and how it works for them. And basically, you need to take this out to play. Now, here's the neck of this horn. It's bigger, and it goes, this key here is called the octave key. This makes the note go up a whole octave. So if you press this, okay. Here's my metal mouthpiece that I was telling you about. You know that? It's really a classic. This mouthpiece, you know, is one that, you know, not that because, you know, it's just one of the best mouthpieces that I had, and it was used by a lot of great iconic players. And it, you know, you wonder, you know, why? Because it's so good. I always put the reed on, and then I suck the air out of it, make a suction like pressure thing, And if the reed pops, I know that it's going to be okay. If it doesn't seal, then I know I have to make some adjustments, change the reed, or get another reed, or put the ligature on a little bit different height. So listen to this. You can hear that. So if I loosen it like this and move the reed just a little bit over, which is not the way you want it, and I go like that, leave it loose, it doesn't really have that pop, but it's there. See? So you got to move it in, and you'll get this. Okay, so playing the mouthpiece without the horn, you get this duck sound. And when you put it on the neck, it becomes real. It goes here. Okay, so here's 3. It's a deeper sound. This tenor saxophone is in B flat as well as this, only this is an octave lower than that one. So it's a deeper sound, as you can tell. Now, this octave key I was telling you about, here's it brings it up 8 steps. So if you're on the piano, you would be going do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's an octave. Between this note and this note is 1 octave. If you want to go again from this note, another octave, it would be, it's way up there. You hear the difference in the sound of this horn compared to these other two. So, playing loud on the saxophone or any instrument is called forte. And in music, you'll see like an F underneath the notes. So that tells the player to play loud at that point. And then you might have a diminuendo, which the lines go down to a MP, which would be medium soft. P means pianissimo, which is soft. And then it could go even like softer than pianissimo to double pianissimo. So I'll play like a forte. Here's a mezzo forte, medium loud, medium soft, double soft. See the difference in the sound? So when you're playing jazz, you have all these different things that you do when you play. You got the airstream, fast airstream, slow airstream. So I'm blowing fast there. I'm not putting the air in so fast on the softer notes. But also to play any wind instrument, you have to breathe from the diaphragm to hold the note. Some people say, Greg, how do you play with, it's like you're not breathing. I said, well, you know, I'm breathing, but I've learned to breathe to play the instrument the proper way, which is this. You take a breath, tighten up here, and you can hold the note for a long time, which is not, doesn't make you a better player to hold a note, but sometimes you want to have long lines and you want to have enough air to play. So take a breath without stopping. I ran out of air there, so if I'm going to do it, That would be like exaggerating. Like you wouldn't hold a note that long. Even at the end of a tune, the conductor would cut it off way before that. So. So I just play that they call it a lick or a phrase. So I'm going to change keys and go up a half tone. Up another half tone. So it's like transposing and practicing in different fingering fractions or intervals, because the horn is like all set up the same as the soprano or the alto, but it's a different tone. So when I play the soprano, I play differently than I play on the alto. For some reason, it draws me into a different style, which I could. It's kind of more of a modern sound, which would be like more of a angular sound. Was when I play the tenor and the alto, it's more like horizontal, like as I put it. So it's just a cap, or it just protects the reed from getting broken, because if you don't have it on, you can snag your clothing on this, or you can just hit it with your hand, and it just breaks, and then you have to put a new one on. Like, let me put this down, the alto one time. So here we go. Great to see you today. So I'm Greg Abate. Thanks for joining us today. And if you'd like to know more about me, just go to gregabate.com, spelled A-B-A-T-E. And I hope that I hear from you. Thank you. Have a great musical experience with your instruments.